just going to get ready. I was just making sure that the audio is working. I think we're good to go. Let me just close out these other windows. I don't know what that crackling is. I was hoping I'd be able to fix that. All right, I'm going to switch over to, oh wait, before I do that, let me get my music playing. And now, you guys can't hear my music, and I should be able to listen to it. All right, there we go. Hey, this is a much better setup. And I can hear my audio, and I can hear my music. Cool. All right, so I had to rebuild my computer last week because it sort of blew up. And let's just get the stream started. I was working on a few things. One thing I wanted to do was let me open up Atom for a second, and I want to install the command line tools, and I wanted to set up one of my plugins. So one thing that I was sort of working on, maybe we could do it as a code warm-up, is let's do this. Let's install APM are installed. Okay, so terminal APM. Cool. All right, so what I want to do is come here and let's go to shared Dropbox dev. Pixel Vision 8. And in here I have a plugins folder, Ghostwriter. That's what I want. I want to do APM link and pass it this. Cool. All right, so Ghostwriter is a little program I've been working on for a while that actually lets me look at the packages here and see if I think I meant to reload. Win packages, Ghostwriter. There we go. All right, so Ghostwriter allows me to, let me close this guide. I don't want to help. And I want to, I need to install a few packages. Let's open the installer. I need to do the Lua. Oh, I had to hit search. It's not a real search. All right, Lua, linter on the fly, linter Lua space, Atom format Lua. What does that do? On Linux, you use Lua, which results in this can't work. I don't know what this one is. All right. So what I was looking to do is let's add some syntax highlighting for Lua. I'm just configuring Atom. This is like a brand new build of this laptop, so I want to make sure that I have everything on there. I wanted to do the minimap preview full source code. Adding minimap binding for highlighted and selected package. Find and replace. Minimap pigments, minimap gip. Let me do find and minimap bindings for the find and replace package. All right. I can't remember what else I need. I'm sure I'll figure it out while I do it, but I think the only thing I need to do is customize the styling. I really love Atom. Now I can do it this way. Let me do preferences, editor, font 18. And then there should be something in here that was, let me look at packages, spell check. Settings. I think what we need to do is add source.lua. And cool. All right, that should be sort of the stuff that I need for right now. But I wanted to try out real quick. I'll sort of show you what. Let's get the mic closer to me. I'll show you what Ghostwriter actually does. And let's start this here. I'm going to MonoGame port. Also do Ghostwriter plugin. So I keep a track of tasks and stuff that I work on. So I have to reset all that up. I don't remember the name of the I don't remember the name of the plugin from before. So all right, let's go to shared projects, Pixelvision 8, and in here we have another shared folder, and we're gonna call this Pixelvision OS. I'm gonna put this here, but I'm just gonna have one place where I work on Pixelvision OS. These are the files and stuff that sort of make up the system. And one of the things I would do in the demo, I was doing this with Draw Sprites. I was working on this in the plane. In fact, what we should do is, well, we can just put this here. So if I make this full screen, what you'll see is I added all these comments into this demo, and I was starting to go through and sort of commented, and then I lost interest on my flight. But what's cool about it is that what Ghostwriter will do is we'll toggle the preview. Ghostwriter is going to go through and it's going to actually read out all the comments, and it's going to go through and convert this code into a tutorial. So I just wanted to make sure that this works, because I think what I'm going to start doing is writing some more. I'm going to try to take some time to comment out some code. I'm not going to do it today because I want to get more of Pixelvision running. I sort of have it all broken. But you can sort of see, you can go through here. I just wanted to see one thing, that when I was doing this on the plane, I was getting like these really weird slowdowns. And I wasn't sure if view, I want to do soft wrap, selection, edit. Where was, that's folding. Lines. I can't remember where bookmarks. I feel like there was a place where I had it where it toggled soft wrapping. There we go, toggle soft wrap. I was kind of curious why it was chugging on me. So at this point, let's just go through. We'll write a little bit of tutorial code. We'll sort of warm up, and then we'll go from there. So this is down here, the draw. Let's see, where is... All right, create a new function. So it automatically goes through and it reads and it says, oh, here's a function. So it says create a new function called draw. And the way that I designed Ghostwriter was really for it to be like these old like programming books that I used to read when I was a kid, that you basically like write out an entire program and it would sort of tell you, it would have it like commented in the code what it does. And so that's what this is supposed to be. So if you add a comment above something, it'll make that the description below. So you'll see here, function draw, and then here it's taking this text and putting that there. If you have a comment line that sits by itself, it'll automatically like highlight it and make it just like a call out. So I still need to work on cleaning up the output of this. It's very like, it has like no personality, but the goal of Ghostwriter was really just to get me to like 90% of a tutorial without having to think about it. And as long as I comment my code correctly, it'll automatically generate out pretty decent tutorials. And it's good about making sure that it'll give you space. Like as you can see here, it starts with drawing this function, or telling you to do this function, and it creates a line number 72, and then it inserts the next line there. So the lines don't actually correspond to the real tutorial because it doesn't take the comments into account. But it's pretty powerful. It's a pretty powerful thing. I just need to make sure that it works correctly. So let me see. I want to see. At this point, we are finally ready to draw something on the screen. Since all of our sprite data has been set up and our animation is being updated, displaying sprites on the screen should be relatively easy. All right, so let's see. 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 Let's All right, so we need to clear the display on each frame. If we don't, oh yeah, so I am seeing some slowdown. I think it has something to do with the fact that this is updating constantly. So what I should probably wind up doing is I should probably put this on a timer so it only updates after a certain amount of time. So right, so redraw. Oh, I don't have the plugin set up, so redraw display. I don't remember what the API is. Redraw. We can call redraw and so we are calling clear first. Make sure the last frames pixel data is removed for frame. So that's basically how this works. You can see all I got to do is just comment my code, and just by commenting my code, it'll create a pretty compelling tutorial. All right, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I just wanted to make sure that this was wired up. Let's see the all right, so let's dive into the real show, which is going to be this Pixel Vision 8 port to MonoGame. I wanted to get my games, the games I've been creating in Pixel Vision 8 off of Unity. It's like there's too much bloat, and I can't stand a lot of the issues I've been having. So let's open up Rider. So what we're going to try to do is get this to the point to where I can run this on its own, but I need to rebuild the core logic. Now, I was having some thoughts about this, and one of the things I was thinking of doing was building like the boot tool and the other stuff into building the boot stuff into the editor. Now, I had some problems I was running into earlier. What I can't remember is where I left off last night. So let's let this finish building. I know it's going to give me this error. Can I hide this error? Display balloon notifications. Yeah, whatever. I'll do that later. All right, let's disable that. I think the projects have been loaded correctly. Let's look at our solution. All right. I'm just gonna run this and make sure that it works. And then I gotta go in and start doing, like, what we gotta do is the game should boot and then go into loading the first tool. And what was happening was that it decided it didn't feel like booting anymore. So what we're gonna do is try to figure out why this isn't working. So let's start by, we're gonna tell this engine that when it boots up, it's going to load in system tool. I wanted to boot up Reaper Boy, so let's do tile map demo, and we'll do system demos tile map demo. Let's see what it does. There is like a lot of foundation work I need to rebuild from scratch here. I had this all sort of working. Well, I had this all working in Unity. Huh. That went right in and booted. Why Oh, I see. All right, what I want to do is, all right, I think I had to have it do the boot tool system tools / boot tool, and let's rerun this again. All right, so that booted, and then then it hits an error, and that's because it gets to the loader, and it calls some error in the script, and I don't remember how to get. Let me see here real quick. So really sharp line numbers. Script options. Debug print. This action delegates where to call print debug input. This delegate, which would be called every time Moonshot requires line input from a console. Will we use error locations? If this is set to true, the location of the error message will only include the line numbers instead of the lines and columns uses for command. Which parses error? I don't know what that is. All right, so it's supposed to show the error message. I think this is a problem from interpreter. There's like a weird problem I have in Writer where it doesn't show me. I gotta look at the preferences for a second. It doesn't show me the line numbers for errors in code. Version control, build, execution, and deployment. Debugger, symbols. Show debugger window on breakpoint, hide debugger window on process termination. Scroll executor point to center. Show variables for fully qualified type names. Allow. What I'm looking for is trying to figure out break on user unhandled exception. Allow unsigned requests. Sort values alphabetically. Show values inline. Show value tooltip on code selection. I don't know what that means. All right, deployment. There's nothing here that Docker registry tool. I don't know what any of this stuff does. I think it was giving me problems. Cannot run program Docker machine error. No, so I don't think I have Docker installed. Restoring it before build. Write log output. Write log to file. Verbose file logger. I wonder. I'm not really sure how. I'm not sure why I can't get line numbers. I don't know why it doesn't inspector C#. Redundancy, code notifications, Unity unit formatting. Well, I'm not really entirely sure. Not entirely sure why I can't see the line numbers here. Maybe there's a panel setting here saying restore layout, run, default. All right, so something is going on inside of content libs tools load tool. And what I got to figure out is supported plugin Lua is not found install plugin. I like that. I really like Rider. Allah is on here is deaf, so I usually just type to him. So sorry if it takes me a second to. I need to restart. I need to restart Rider. Okay, cool. I like that Rider automatically terminate. I like that Rider automatically just noticed that I was opening up a Lua file, and then I tried to fix it. All right, so the plugin below cannot function at the same time. Please select which one to use. Oops. All right, let's use that Lua plugin. I don't know which Lua plugin is better than the other, but all I know is that Rider doesn't have a spell checker yet, and that's like a huge problem. I gotta write those guys because I mean I've seen that some people have filed some bugs for it, but I can't spell to save my life, as you will see. Okay, hey, look, things are highlighted here. All right, so these are the animation stuff. Let's do this. I'm going to disable. I'm just going to comment out this stuff for right now. And what we're going to do is we're going to have to just rewire this up. I was actually debating building this into the runner as a C# library, but I'm not, as a C# game, I'm not sure exactly what I want to do yet. But what I did want to see was, I wanted, I don't know what I just okayed. So I was indented with tabs of force, fine. Print, hello world. I just want to see if output is going to the console. Let's run this real quick. And this should also stop the, okay, whatever, I don't care. Now I just want to code. Loading Lua file. So after it loads the bootloader, it will, it's going to throw an error. I don't know why. Let's see if it, attempt to call a nil evalue. Oh, here we go. I see the problem. Let me, let's stop this. Let's get rid of all of this. And it's getting to this part where it says read metadata next mode. And it can't read that because I don't think I exposed that yet. So if you're just tuning in, I've been working on Pixel Vision 8 for like 2.5 years now. And what I'm trying to get it to the point of now is that I can take it out of Unity and just have it run on its own. Hello world. Hey, cool. So the console's working. All right, so now we have basic debugging. We need to expose this read metadata. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a different solution, which is the original, where's shared, Dropbox, dev, projects, Pixel Vision 8, game creator source. Let's open up the, in a new window. We're going to open this up here. And this is the actual code from the Unity project. And what I'm trying to find is where I link these two together. So let's see. Probably, I think I created a runner service. And in here, I probably have a read metadata. Now, I don't remember exactly why I delegated everything into this runner service thing, but I think for right now, what we're going to do is, I got to change my music. So I'm trying something new where I have my music is playing on this computer, but I have it routed to my microphones. Yeah, continue playing on my MacBook Pro. So it's playing in the background, but I'm using my tablet to change the music. And oops, I'm trying to get it where I can actually hear everything that's coming out of my computer, just like you guys would hear, but I have the music routed to a different channel. So we'll see how it works. All right, so read metadata. read metadata. I'm just going to move some of this stuff over. Active engine, get metadata. All right, let's see if we can re-enable this. So in the game runner, I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to clean this all up later. Right now, I'm in the mode where I just want to get things working. Later on, I will go through and try to actually make this stuff good. Read metadata. So I want to, let's just move this out a little and I can switch. All right, so we're going to copy this. I'm going to come up here and I'll just put this off to the side and we just need to add the delegator. I think there's like a better way of doing this in like a newer version of C# that I'm using. I'm still stuck. A lot of the code's still stuck in the old .NET stuff because I was on Unity. I haven't decided how much of it I want to actually break out, but what I'm trying to figure out is I'm gonna have to figure out how to break this out so I can support both Mono and Unity at the same time. That's probably going to be a little bit of a challenge, but let's see. All right, so that works. Let's go back into the Lua file now, and let's just see if we can get through the beginning part of this. There we go. All right, so I'm going to rerun this. I should probably, I'm probably going to disable the boot. Well, we can look up how to use, I had to look up how to get a key command. So when I boot up, usually what I do is I exit out of the boot. But I don't know if I don't think it's wired up. It should probably be in the booter itself. Hey, look, loading, that's connected. All right, so we're past the basic error. The next thing we need to do is let's see if this will actually start the load process. Yeah, let's just let's just uncomment everything. I don't know what my Discovery Weekly is doing, but lately on Spotify, like the Discovery Weekly has just been terrible. All right, so this boots. Next up, we'll look into how to escape out of this. All right, so we hit a problem. How about this? Let's see if it just needs to get the percentage, and then we'll go through. I don't know, for some reason it's not giving me the line numbers anymore. I got to fix that. That's an annoying problem because it should capture those errors. I just don't think I'm actually doing anything yet to capture them. Nope, that's not good. What is it trying to print? Current animation, frame, draw sprites. Attempt to call a nil value. Redraw sprite. All right, this is sort of annoying. Like when the booter, when the stuff isn't really working well, like where it's like really like, it took me a long time to get the workspace logic worked out for Unity, and you wind up in a place where like now that I have to rebuild all this stuff, it's just a lot of the creature comforts that I had before just don't work. Like being able to restart a game, like I haven't done that. So because I can't restart a game, we should actually look to see how we can fix that. I'm gonna we might make that a focus in a minute. The two things I need to do is add escaping out of the boot screen, and then the other is reloading the game. But Because normally what would happen is I could just comment out this Lua code and hit like Control 4 and it would reload it. Although I don't think that's going to work anymore with this, the way that I have this set up. That's a problem. All right, draw percentage. String arp. All right, so I have a feeling that this right here, string arpad, is the problem. Because it may not be loading. Load script utils. Well, let's see. Maybe. I'm willing to bet you this is the problem. And I can't tell if attempt to call a nil value. All right, so let's look in here at content, libs, systems, tools, load tool. So I have this libs file here and I have this utils file. I want to see if print utils loaded. And let's see if this actually outputs. And what we're trying to figure out is that there's a bunch of library files and stuff that should automatically get loaded up in a game. And I want to make sure that that stuff is actually working. Now it's going to give me this error, but let's see right before this error. See, it's saying that it's adding all the files. Utils, unhandled exception, attempt to call a nil value. Now, it said it loaded it, but it didn't really execute it. So what's happening is that it's not finding this file, and that's sort of indicative of a bigger problem where it's not executing this script correctly. So let's take a look at MonoGame. Load script contains key. Lua script do string. I want to see that we get to this point in the code and that it actually tries to load this script file. So what happens in part of the boot process is that it goes through all of the areas where there are lib directories. So the system has a library directory, your game can have a library directory, and all these things. This is code Lua. All right, so it is executing this correctly. I wonder if this cache tile maps display Lua script. Text files. So there's boot sounds JSON. These are all the files that are. I wonder what text files is. These should be in here. Should be boot text code. What's interesting is I'm not seeing the other scripts being added. So I think I have to go back through and make sure that, yeah, see, all we have is code, data, and JSON. And what we're trying to do is, I think this one's trying to load, what's the name that it's trying to load? Code. By accessing using, yeah, sure, whatever. It just threw the error here. I need to capture the Lua errors, but it threw the error and crashed out. Okay. Whew, fun stuff. This is like the low level, like booting up of a game. Nobody wants to build stuff like this. All right, so what I'm noticing right now is that I need to go back through my code and let me do this. Let's do. There's a place where I go through, and this is the runner Pixel Vision Engine game. There should be a runner game. There should be a place where I go through and I pull out all of the files. Excuse me. Here we go. So compress folder, process files. So on the game, when I call process files, it should be going through and adding this stuff. Oh, here, I don't add the libs to the file. Oh, there we go. Isn't that cool? All right, so what I want to do is if files contains this entity, we don't do it. If not, what we need to do is files is a dictionary? C# join dictionary. Merging dictionaries in C#. All right. You can have multiple values per key. You could then convert that to a dictionary. It's a bit ugly and inefficient. I would try this. Simple and easy. According to this blog post, is even faster than most loops as the underlying invitation access elements by index rather than enumerator. All right, let's try this. For each dictionary 2. So the dictionary from is going to be so libs. I love just like copying random stuff. There we go. All right, so now we should be adding all the libraries into our code. So what this does is it goes through, it has a list of folders that it can search for. So here there's 2 folders. There's a libs folder in the systems and there's a libs folder in the workspace. And it looks for those libs folders and then it basically tries to load up that stuff. There we go. Look, it loaded and it didn't give me the error. So now it is, and it should say utils loaded. So it's now loading and executing this file. So we can, clear this. All right, so now in the code, let's go ahead and try to uncomment out this and see what happens. Oops. I'm so used to coding in Writer and then having to switch back over to Unity that I forgot that I could just like do it all here now. It's so much better. Even though sometimes it doesn't build that much slower. There's probably a lot of stuff that I could clean up to make it build a little faster. All right, so it's giving me another error again. I think it has something to do with this. Start next preload and end. So I have a feeling that I put this into, here we go, runner preload. So let's see if I, new action. So where is our game runner? And we need to look for where I set up the Lua connections. There we go. All right, so I think this is on the runner. Start next preloader. Preload complete. Runner preloader complete. All right, we'll just keep moving this stuff over. What I'll do is once I get everything running and I see how I want it working, I'll go through and I'll sort of refactor it and then start breaking things out into their own classes and make this a little bit more modular. I can't, first off, I can't take Spotify's music. Is terrible right now. Second, I can't think about like optimized architecture until I all right, so this is a problem. This start coroutine, that's not going to work, and we're going to have to figure out a way of fixing that. Also, public void display error message. Is there an enum or is this a, no, this is all, okay, I'm gonna get rid of this for right now. Basically what happens is when this thing goes through and loads, if it detects an error, it's supposed to throw you into the error display, but I don't have any of that stuff wired up. All right, so what we gotta figure out right now is preload next step. And where was preload next step? And why was this not with the other stuff? All right, so start next preload. All right, so I was sort of playing around with this yesterday, and what we need to do is, all right, I don't have coroutines like we do in Unity. Let me close this out real quick. We'll just do, this is what I was working on. I use this mostly more for the task stuff, but I'm not ready to break out tasks. So, all right, I'm gonna stand up and just sort of think through this real quick, and you'll hear me moving the mic. Sorry. So, okay, I don't have coroutines. All Unity coroutines are is just, it's basically like just an action that's put into an array, and then on update or whenever, those coroutines are basically called. So what we're gonna have to do is let's take a look at our loader and just see what it's doing. So reload percent. All right, so there's a small delay for when this thing boots up, and then it calls start next preload. And then it waits to see for the percentage to be complete, then it calls preloader complete. So what we're gonna do is, so this starts the next preload. We're basically going to, we're gonna create an array, or we're gonna create a flag that on every frame, if it's preloading something, that it's going to basically just call preloader next step. And we'll see if that works. Preloader next step, start coroutine. All right, so that's basically it. So let's do this. We're going to, I don't know why I'm trying to code and stand. My legs are sort of like annoying today. All right, so we're going to create a protected Boolean called preloading. And we're going to set that to false. So when we start the preload, we'll do preloading equals true. When we complete, preloading equals false. And then we don't need to start this coroutine. We're going to make this void, and we'll get rid of this. And all we're going to do is call preload I think all we need to do is just call preload. Right now, we'll just simplify this. We're just going to call preloader next step. And then get rid of that. So in essence, all we're doing is we're going to check now to see if, let's see, where's update? So here's our update. If preloading is true, we're going to call this once, and then that should call in the next step. So let's see if the preloader works. That's like the most basic way of wiring up. What I'm probably going to do is come up with a sort of like a better green thread solution inside of this and get rid of coroutines altogether. I should have done it from the beginning. Hey, look at that. It loaded. That wasn't a very big project. Let's try to do something that's like a full game. So now, if I go, it won't. Oh, I do have it in the BIOS. Here's auto run. What we're gonna do is we're gonna change this to Reaper Boy. And now let's run this. It might happen so, like the preloader might happen so quickly. What I can't tell is if it's actually outputting. So we're gonna trace that out in a minute. We'll see, but that basically got us through it. What I just got to make sure is that it. That sort of did something. All right, I know what the problem is. All right, so this was something that I wasn't. This was something that I was sort of not. I wasn't paying attention to what I was doing. Is this running, or is this corrupted? I think this is corrupted. The beach ball of death probably shows. Okay, so what's happening is let me kill that. All right, I'm loading the preloader, and then I'm replacing the preloader while it's running with a new game, and it's trying to load and have the new game and running at the same time, and it winds up becoming a mess. Oh wow, is my music playing? Oh, that's cool. Why is it playing out there? I was like, why don't I hear my music? I see this setup is not working the way that I want it to. Jesse's MacBook Pro. Oh, cool. I'll eventually work out the bugs of the stream. I just had to rebuild my whole computer. All right, so sorry, trying to move the mic out of the way. All right, now what I got to figure out is the actual loading process. I wonder what I can do to fix that. That's going to be more of a problem. I need to like really sit back down and like for this I have to like take I don't have to take everything apart. I just got to get it to where I couldn't find this in my code. Maybe it's in here. There should be something where it's like active engine. Like what needs to happen is that there's this notion here of a temporary engine and then an active engine. And the temporary engine is what gets runner process files, create new engine. What I couldn't figure out is that I think when you go to the runner and we process the files, I think run game. Yeah, that's what it needs to do. Okay. All right. Let's come back here. What we need to do is create two different engines. So there's going to be a runner. That's fine. Runner mode. Load just looking at where I set all this stuff up. There should be a, okay, so here we set the path name, configure engine. All right, so when we configure an engine, what we're gonna do is we're gonna create two things. We're gonna have a, that's in the runner. I want the base runner. Active engine equals runner active engine. All right, so do runner dot active engine. See, here's the problem I was running into earlier. What I need to do is this engine. I don't entirely understand what engine reference. Let's do this. I want to get rid of this real quick. I don't want this class anymore. Has engine. What is using this? So this is like the one problem I don't like about Writer and like Visual Studio when it's not inside of Unity, is like it's not giving me the, it's not showing me the errors because this isn't a shared library. So display target, runner game. All right, display target. I feel like the display let me look at the display target of this. Display. So this had a reference to the runner itself, because then it looked at active engine. So this display target, instead of engine reference, should be private runner engine reference. So what we're going to do is I'm going to get this working to where I don't need this engine reference anymore. And then once I have that working, then I can start building out. So basically, in essence, what we do is we have one game that's currently running, and that game is monitoring, well, in this case, it'll load up the loader, and it's monitoring the status of the loading in the background. And then when we load a new game, we set it to this temporary game. When that's done, when that temporary game is done loading, it swaps it out and becomes the new active engine, and that's all handled in the runner. I really got to straighten this up. I sort of made this like really convoluted in Unity, and the goal of this like rewrite is to just streamline this whole thing. I'm less concerned with having full Unity support at the moment. I actually am like just done with Unity for the time being. I'm gonna, of course I say that, but I have some games I have to like work on in Unity. But I think for like my own stuff, like unless I moving forward, I'm just probably gonna use MonoGame or something that's a little bit more streamlined. Render. So when we go to render, reset resolution. I think we just always assume that this has a runner. Active engine does not equal null. If not, we will set the active engine to render like this and cache colors. Interesting. Render. Oh wow, look at this. So he's not caching the colors. Interesting. I'm gonna have to. So one of the things that I did in order to make this faster was like, it looks like on his render he's actually creating new colors all on the fly, and that's like a big bottleneck. I wouldn't do that. What I would probably do is, well, I'll probably just move. I could probably move over all this code here. But then what happens is that as we go through and we loop through everything, we just simply set the color correctly. All right, we're gonna have to. I'm not gonna deal with that right now. Let's do this. Runner active engine equals null return. To do add in color caching logic from Unity display class. All right. Render, and then it just sets all the pixel data. Cool. All right, so now I got to go into the game runner here, and wherever. Well, let's get rid of some of this crap. Remove unused stuff. Wherever I use this engine ref display, this is runner. All right, I need to create the runner ahead of time. And we can get rid of this engine ref. This will simplify things. I don't like single classes that don't really have much use. Engine ref, let's get rid of this whole thing, honestly. I'm not ready to delete it just yet, but we run that. We run New York. Sorry, I was having like a hip hop moment there. All right, we'll fix. I'm gonna do this for right now. Runner dot active engine. I'll fix that later. That's going to be the temp stuff. Basically, what I do is I set the name of the engine process file. That's going to be a temp engine. The only time that we ever use the active engine is when we're displaying it. We shouldn't do it for anything else. Like configure engine. That'll be, if it's not null, shut down the active engine. Fine. These are going to be temp engines. I'll fix this in a minute. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. A lot of this code I wrote and like haven't, like a lot of this code I wrote in Unity and then stopped like thinking about it. Configure services. This will be the temp engine. Fine. Okay, let's rerun this and see if this works. It's going to do that thing where it should boot and show the whoa, or just break. Couldn't load object reference not set to an instance of an object. I wonder if, how did my voice crack like that? I wonder if I'm not running the debugger, if that's the problem. Maybe I need to run the debugger to get the line number stuff. Let's see what got messed up here. There we go. Runner game 207. Load service runner. I think that's maybe that stuff was there the whole time and I just wasn't seeing it. Let me rerun this again. I don't know why. Well, I mean, I have an idea why. Huh. That's interesting. If I don't run it in debug mode, it doesn't give me the line numbers or anything. All right, let's go back here and let's try to figure out what got caught. I imagine it's not going to be very happy with this idea of mine here. Loading. So game runner 329196 game 196 base process files, and then we go back to the runner game 336 runner game 336 runner active engine. All right, let's I think we're at the point where we have to create a temp engine. It doesn't like this idea. Because what's happening is that it's trying to configure, it's trying to load and shut down the same thing, and runner dot active engine. So here we're gonna make that a temp engine. Process files. This will be a temp engine. Configure engine. If an active engine is running, fine, shut down the active engine. But here and here, we're going to set this to the temporary engine. Shut down active engine. Fine. Configure services. So here we're going to use the temp engine. I think that's all the references of active engine. Read metadata. Nope, this needs to be the, I don't know about that. Read meta, oops, where's the runner service? That might always be the active engine. All right, that's fine. We'll leave that as is. Active engine. Shut down. Okay, cool. I think that should work, maybe. Let's rerun it and see. This is the hardest part. Once I get past the boot up process, everything else should work. Come on. Shoot. MonoGame 209. Load service. Load service could not load. Load service 472. New texture factory. Object reference not set to an instance of an object. So you're telling me that at this point here, there's no reference for the texture factory? Load service read. This texture factory is set to no. Okay, so let's take a look at where this gets configured. Texture factory. When we create the load service. So we need to find usage. So here we create this runner. Because I moved the runner up in the constructor process, what wound up happening is that I had not created the texture factory yet. So we need to create the texture factory. And then from the texture factory, we create the runner and we pass the texture factory into the runner. Then we do display target and the input factory. All right, let's run this again and take a look at what will run. If you're just tuning in, I'm rebuilding the boot process for Pixel Vision 8 now that I moved it over to MonoGame. Come on up. There we go. It's booting. We're getting some weird flicker on the left-hand side of the pixel stuff. That's strange. It's trying to go through the boot process, but it's hanging again. I'm kind of curious to see if this actually gets past here. There we go. All right. It gets past here, but then it dies because it struggles through the boot process, and then it winds up. It's still corrupting that game, huh? So let me look here. This. Now I wonder what the problem is. So let's do this. Let's go into our game runner into the preload stuff, and yeah, I know it died. Wasn't very happy. What we're gonna do is runner preload next step. This goes through and it executes. So let's figure out where is. So we start the preload. So let's do this. I want to just trace out that this actually works. So cons. Print starting preload. Preload next step. And what we'll do is runner we'll just output the percentage from the loader. And then we're going to let's go here to print preload done. And let's see if this actually works. All right, we save this and let's rerun the debugger. So what we're looking to see is, I know that what's happening is that it's like loading the files in on top of itself, and that's why like the game just gets to a certain part and it hangs. What we're gonna do, what I want to do is to see if at least when we go through the preloader, if the engine is preloading, what we want to make sure is that, yeah, see, preload next step 1. Huh. Why is it, that's weird. It didn't get the preload end. All right, let's stop this and take a look at the preloader for a second. What's weird is that the preloader percentage, runner loader percent. I wonder what happens when we man, there's like so much code to just get this stuff up and running. Configure engine, temp engine, file system exists. Run disk, read disk. So when we go here to run the disk, it calls process files. It should process runner, process files in the temp engine. Save disk. Preload next steps. Preload complete. Preload equals equals this, preload next step. So this should tell me if there is preloader complete, true, return false. So because the loader didn't get to the end, because the files are getting corrupted in memory, what's happening is that it's not getting to preloader complete. So when we call runner preload complete, it actually runs the game. And when it runs the game, it takes the temp engine. Just had a bad sneeze. It activates the engine. So here we have process files. We set a temp engine. Preloader next step. All this stuff should be on the, this runs the game. Parse files. Well, what we got to get to is the point where I just want to see one thing real quick. I'm going to disable the I'm gonna disable this shutdown active engine thing for a second, and let's see if we can get this just to run. What I'm looking for is the preloader to display itself. It's trying to like it should. I rather it get hung on the preloader. See, okay, so at least we got it here. No, now it's screwed up. Why? Why does it get hung there? First, why? Shut down active engine. So create a new engine, configure services, new Lewis service. Create the chip manager on the temp engine, chip manager, add a service, Lewis service, Lewis service, clear script. What's interesting is I'm not 100% sure how it's actually. Let's see here. What? Start next preload. Let's see what it has to say for itself. So whenever we start the preload process, we got to trace out the two things. I got to go back and do it when it actually calls load. But all right, so loads all the files, and we're good to go here. Now, what's weird is that it calls preload next step, but it's not actually. I'm just kind of curious to see if where's the Lua file? Read preloader %. Start next preload. Load game chip. And I want to get to load, and let's get start load game. We'll look for unsuccess. Load. I feel like this is run disk, read disk exists. System path. Run disk. Console reading from disks. What I don't get is, oh, I see, here we go. Starting preload of Reaper Boy. Reading from disk. I gotta get rid of where does it read from this? Run disk. Where's read disk? Oh my god, why is my dog barking? There's some place here where I let's get rid of this. We don't need to output this anymore. I really should have just copied over all the code from. Well, I've broken this preloader a bunch of times. I felt like if I copied over the Unity stuff, it would just be bad. Preload next step 1. Now. Let's try one last thing here. I want to just load where is the default game? Oh my god, the dog. What's going on with the dog? Maybe someone's breaking into my house. The dog, like, it sits downstairs at the window. The window's open now. I mean, it's like there's a screen on it, but it's just open a crack to let the air go through the house. And he sits on the window and barks at the other dogs that walk by. He's got such a little attitude. All right. Boot done. Read data. Load. Auto run. So let's do this. Let's new mode, runner mode, play, no, false. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip the preload process and just see if we can go from the boot right into the game. And then we'll work backwards. I know exactly what's happening. I just don't know exactly where it's breaking. And what we got to do is we got to get it to where the preloader just sort of works on its own, and then we can. All right, so like you can see, like the game. All right, so the game works now. Hopefully you guys aren't hearing the sound. It's so fast in It's so fast in MonoGame. It's like right now, there's like no optimization to this whatsoever, and it's just blazing fast. Like I think it's going to be a lot better than what it was before. In fact, I bet you when I add the caching of the screen colors, it might. I think Sean, who did the skeleton of the mono port, I think he was running into problems with some performance on the Pi using MonoGame. I'm willing to bet if we optimize that renderer, it'll speed everything up. So good at this game. All right, so what we need to do now is go in and let's get rid of this. And let's take a look at this loading process. So if preload equals true, we're going to set this stuff up. What I want to do is mode equals new mode. If mode does not equal runner, fine. Last mode equals this. History, add. Metadata history, add. Configure engine, metadata. All right, so temp agent name path. So what I'm kind of system path parse path. That's the path to the game. Then what we do is try to get the system path. If it exists, we run it. If not, we throw an exception that there was an error that we couldn't load. And we can get rid of all of this garbage. Get rid of all this garbage and here. Load tool. All right, so read disk, run disk, all this stuff works fine. Where the real problem is coming down here to this preload stuff. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to disable this. And what I want to get is the, let's disable this too. And I want to get it to the point where it shows the preloader and it should just show an empty value. And then we're going to go through and we're going to see why it's corrupting the game when it tries to load a new one. If you're just tuning in, I'm in the process of porting my game engine that runs all my games over from Unity to MonoGame, and I'm working on the boot. All right, there we go. So right now we've got it to where it goes to the loader, and now we need to just isolate how it's going to load the next game. So we'll start with let's just do this real quick, where we uncomment this out, and what we're looking for is error while loading. I'm like so many things I got to port over. Oh, I thought it was gonna be like a quick port, but this is what I think the problem is. That when I go to call this, let's look at this. Let's look at start next preload here and see what I'm doing, because I may. Temp engine equals name, chip manager, configure service. If track new engine, we're not doing any tracking. So let's go to the actual runner and look at the temp engine. There's something here where I'm just not setting this correctly and I'm overriding the actual current engine. So we process the files to the temp engine. Parse files, load service, temp engine. Parse files. Run game. So when we process files, it all right, let's look at the configure engine. I feel like I copied most of this stuff over how it was, but configure engine. Let's go to the child class. If active engine, great. Base configure engine. Let's go all the way down. We create a new temp engine. All right. So here's what we're gonna see. If I come back here and I call this, I feel like this load, next mode, next metadata. Print an error, load path, preloading is true. Ah, I think I know what the problem is. What's happening is I am not setting in the runner display progress. No, yeah. Process files. So we come here and we call process files. I am not passing in display progress. Display. All right, we're not displaying the progress. And then here in the runner, all right, so configure engine. When we call configure engine, do we do this before the base? Yeah. All right. So create a parameter. Nope, I don't want that. I lied. I don't want that. Stop it. Create a field. Introduce variable. Nope. Nope. Undo, undo, undo. All right, I'll just do this by hand. Thanks. Thanks, Ryder. You just relax on Monday. Don't you worry. I got this. Boolean display progress. All right. So based on the mode, we're going to toggle whether the preloader should display or not. Stop and run. I don't think this is going to work because, well, what it shouldn't do is it shouldn't corrupt the file. In essence, what was happening is that the core runner was loading the game and immediately loading it and not going through the not deferring it to be processed over the preloading step. All right, so all we got to do now is re-enable this other step here. All right, we'll leave it there. We don't need to do this twice. You can never tell sometimes if I want to do a condition ahead of time or a guard clause, but it's usually a lot easier to read if it's not, if the update loop does it. But all right, this should now run through the preloader and work. All right, did I disable that in the Lua code? Preloader completed. All right, let's try this one more time. The tell that this was executing instantly was before when I was trying to trace out the percentage. It kept showing 1, which meant it was done. All right, something's not starting preload. All right, so success. Here we set preload to true. We'll clear this stuff. If not, we'll set preloading to false, just to make sure that we get this correct. And then let's just do preload next step. Let's see if that outputs. Come on, preload next step. All right, so it called that a bunch of times. I think it's still calling that. All right, so it hasn't reached the end yet. So what we should do is let's trace out the percentage real quick and just see. So display progress. Display, I forget what the runner load service percent. All right, let's see what the percentage is as it outputs. It may just not, it may be like hanging on something because this isn't the normal way that I would call this. So let's see if the percentage stuff at least goes through step by step. The way that this works is it's basically green threading. It simulates having threads where it'll run for a certain amount of time. There we go, perfect. All right, so it does run. So this is running. I have a feeling that I am not returning the percentage correctly. Read preload percentage. So this should be, let's see here. Read, which runner service is it? It's not in the runner service. It's not here. Game runner. There we go. All right, so this will now fix the preloader. Famous last words. let's see if this works. Boom. Now it didn't look, well, it didn't look like it was updating in the Lua. Was I not? So now I should be able to undo all the changes I made earlier and get this to the beginning state of this runner. And now it should work exactly how the old one did. Let's rerun this real quick. I don't know why it wasn't showing the update, the percentage. I gotta activate. I think after this we'll activate. All right, it wasn't showing the. All right, so let's do this. First, what I want to do is reset the preloading to equal this. Then we don't have to reset this when it's done. And it's up to the loader to trigger the actual preload complete. So let's rerun this. I just want to make sure it doesn't keep calling preloader next steps. It should at least the internal engine should stop processing once it gets to the fact that something is done loading. Hey, look, it's working now. I know what was happening. What we should do is, it's funny, if it equals false, it ended the preloading. Why does it hang right there? So what was happening was the preloader had finished, and then it set its value back to 0 because there was nothing else to run, and we were just seeing 0, 0, 0. So parser completed, current parse ID. Next step, complete. I'm just looking at all these parsers. I feel like it shouldn't hang on that last step. That's sort of a problem. So I gotta take a look at this real quick. This might just be I'm willing to bet that the coroutine probably called it one additional time, which was enough to make it run the final step. So let's just double check. We're gonna look into why this is hanging at 67. Preloaded, next step 0. I wonder if there's something in the Lua code I'm doing here. What I feel like should happen, honestly, is I think I'm going to redo this where the preloader is actually going to trigger this step, and I'm just going to register preloader complete, preload next step. Well, let's do this. Let's have this thing still run. And let's see that it actually just gets to the end, and then we can look into cleaning this up. I'm on the fence if I want to do some sort of like more generic green thread where you can like have it do stuff, and then you can it'll automatically try to like pull, or not pull them, but it'll create a queue. Oh, see, I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at the output of the window. Next step 1. I mean, it not for nothing, but it's taking. Look, is this still running this? How do I clear this? Clear the buffer. Yeah, that's not good. Preload next step 1. See, it's still calling this crap. Oh, right, because we're not setting this to false. All right, so let's rerun this one more time. I have a feeling that Mono is just actually like parsing this stuff like way faster than Unity did. Like you just may not even see the load progress. Let's see. I'm gonna keep an eye out for it. Yeah, so it happened so quickly you didn't even see the update. Now I wonder if see that the other thing that I might have to like delay the preloading stuff a little bit, because what's happening is that it's trying to perform the calculation, and it's happening so fast that it doesn't have time to this yield return wait for end of frame actually like it actually slowed it down enough to display what's going on. So MonoGame I know the wait time function seems to work. Timer manager wait time. Ideally, I like to do something like this. Marked as a duplicate. Let's see. All right, so it's marked as a duplicate. So where the hell is the solution? Yeah, this is what I would do by hand. I don't know, when it says that it's a ask a new question. How do you, so it's marked as duplicate, so where's the other duplicate? Already has an answer here. Alright, there's no magical way to do this in MonoGame, I know. The basic idea is fairly simple though. Update time elapsed. Yes, this is a basic delay action. Yeah, I mean, this would be the start of a new thread. Let's see if we can do a quick. Well, all we need to do is let's do a float preload delay equals 0.05. Private float preload time equals 0. And what we would do is preload time plus equals time delay if preload time is greater than or equal to preload delay then call this. So this is going to, in essence, slow down the, well, let's just put this here. This is going to slow down the process for the preloader, hoping that it'll, I just want to see if it makes a difference in displaying it. So when we call, I said that really like with a New York accent, when we call preload next step, let's just pass in game time. Time elapsed in seconds. Time delay equals. All right, let's try this now and see if this delay. Oh no, wait, that's not going to work. Stop. Cancel. Abort. Preload next. Once we hit this, we need to reset the time. Equals 0. That in essence is the most basic like delay. Is you have the delay you want, the time it takes. You take the time delta between each frame, then add it to the time, and then if it goes over the delay, then you reset it and perform your action. So let's see if this, there we go. See? It just needed a delay. It was running too quickly. And in fact, we could probably like make this something like really small. I mean, there's probably some better math that I could do for this, but I don't want it to run, I don't want the delay to be so bad that it actually like is perceivably slower. We would just take the frame rate and then divide it in a certain percentage, and we'd have to like allocate a certain amount of time towards processing whatever. But let's see if this works. Nope, see that was too fast. I mean, I guess the delay would be, we would want it to run every, reopen. We would want it to run every, well, I don't know, we'll see. Oh, that seemed to work. I was yawning, so I didn't see it. Saw an output. I see there's some cleanup I'm going to do with the audio. It's just like outputting errors when you shut down a game that's playing audio. We can fix all that stuff. All right, so boots. It loads and it plays the game. What we could do is we could try to test out. Well, I'm not there yet. I think we're close now. We got the preloader back up and running. I'm going to delete all this old code. We don't really need this. All right, so we now are able to preload. Let's get rid of all this output text. We don't need any of this stuff anymore. I think the next thing that I want to just do before I call it a day. I'm like already like starving. What time is it? 12. Yeah, I should probably wrap up. Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can escape out of the boot. So what I want to do is MonoGame capture key. Handling keyboard. I don't know anything about how MonoGame does this stuff. Handling key game update keyboard state get state. Poll for the current keyboard state. Interesting. Ooh, I like this. Let's take a look at this for a second. So there was a bug that I sort of noticed in the way that Sean had implemented the input stuff. Let's see, there should be a runner services chips input state. Is it input state? Yeah, this input text amount, I don't think that's what I really want. Let's do this. This is if key down escape. That's actually really what I want. Let's do console right line exit. All right, let's import this. All right, so what I'm looking to do is I'm going to capture the escape key, and then I'm also going to capture any key that was pressed, and I'm going to feed that into, there should be a text input, and any key that's pressed should be part of the string builder thing. So let's see if we can capture that. The reason I do that is it's a way that I'm able to detect text input later on when I wire up the other stuff. But all right, so if I hit escape, it should exit. Cool. That's sweet. Whoops. Why is it no longer capturing the exit input? If it's not capturing, I guess maybe the other stuff is being captured. Current keyboard state. Keyboard state. All right, let's do this. Let's just get this out of here, and then I'll deal with the other stuff later on. Where's update? So in the game runner update, I actually I do a few things. I look to capture, I believe I do it here. Game runner update. All right, update. Handle log, late update. feel like there's like an back. All right, so there's two things that I want to do. First, I need to, let's just put this here for right now. Change mode. All right, I don't think I have all this wired up, but let's try to do this. We're gonna put underneath draw. We're gonna put this method for going back. Now I don't have change mode. I can copy this. We're getting to the point where I can actually start copying a lot of this stuff over now because it's sort of there. The preloader was the big hang up. All right, we're gonna pause on fixing this. What I want to do is I gotta get the new runner to be more generic. What I'm trying to do is create a white label thing where what I have now is I have like Pixel Vision 8, which is like the SDK, and then I have like the runners, which is like in Unity or MonoGame, and then I have the game creator, which is this other thing, and I'm trying to get rid of all that. I'm trying to make one solid, like one like white label fantasy console that has the Pixel Vision API built into it, but depending on what you install in it, it will run that. So if you put all the game creator stuff in it, great. And what I'm trying to do is get it to the point where you can sort of like the OS is independent from the actual system, but if you wanted to package it up, you just take a copy of Pixel Vision, the runner, dump in your game in an auto start folder, and it will automatically load. And if there's a booter, it'll go through the boot, it'll do the loaders, and it'll look for those things. But if those things don't exist, it'll just run on its own. And that's sort of where I'm trying to go with this. So one of the things that I want to do though is have a built-in screen that if you hit escape, there should be like a certain, like you should be able to tell it what tool to escape into. Because on the runner, I wanted to just escape into the settings tool, but on the but in the editor, it's probably going to just escape into the last tool that you've used. So I got to figure that out. But long story short, what I really want to do is I'm going to hold off on change mode right now. But what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at what mode is actually working, and then we're going to call back. So now what I just got to figure out is where I actually call back in here. All right, fine, you win. Find usages. Oh, this is part of the runner service? What the hell was I thinking? I really made this thing like overly complicated. Find usages. In the GC controller chip. Ah, that's why. The controller chip actually kept track of this stuff. And it needed a reference to the runner service in order for it to call all this stuff. So what we're gonna do is update time delta system key. Let's let's try to wire this up, perhaps. So in the other input state, is that what I'm in? This is GC controller chip. So I had designed a custom chip for this. I'm gonna put this code here in the runner for right now, and then we'll this should be moved else. But what we're gonna do is let's disable all this stuff right now. I'm not ready to deal with that. We're gonna call back. And then we don't need the get key up. What we needed to do was, it was back down somewhere. We're not going to do the system. Keys escape state is key down. So I'm going to I'm going to do this for right now, which will just tie into I'm gonna have to really clean this all up. I just this is part of the engine that's going to be completely different from Unity, and I could eventually get it to be the same. What we want to do is keys escape pixel vision keys not assignable primary. Right. All right. So give me the input. Isn't there like a thing that gives me the alternative usages? No, I don't want that. I want, let's see, cast to keys. $5 says that doesn't work, but it did give me the full package name, so I can just use that. Let's see. All right, all I want to try to do is get it to where if we hit escape while it's booting up, it exits out of the boot. We'll start with that. Then later on, I'll look into the other stuff. Perfect. Yay! All right. The basic engine now is, at least the basic booting system is there. All I got to do is connect up the like toggle modes and taking screenshot and all those like system key things. I got to look into how that stuff was done, because all the game creator does is it's just a wrapper for a game that knows how to load another game. And what I'm probably going to do is just expose that into the engine. So let's see here. Let's see if we can. Well, no, it's not going to work. All right, I oversimplify everything. What's missing is there's a whole service layer for the editor that's not available right now, and I got to port all that stuff over. But that might be a more straightforward port. I don't know. Now that I got everything here, I think I'm pretty happy with this. I'm probably gonna end the stream. I'll do some streaming tomorrow. I got a ton of work to do today, and as much as I love sitting here and doing game development all day, it's not actually my job. PV8 MonoGame port. All right, we're gonna end it with this, and I'll be back tomorrow. What we'll do is tomorrow we'll start moving over the other services that are needed for the game creator to work. But at this point, this actually technically will run a game and let me wrap a game. So as you can see, what I have is, and this actually works better than the other Unity runner, I now have a very thin wrapper for just running a game. I have the booter, I have a loader, and then I have the actual game itself. So if I looked at the BIOS, do I have the BIOS open? This is all that's really needed right now. This auto run, these are the core things that are needed. What I'm going to have to do is add some additional logic to make sure that if it's if these things exist, it'll start building it out, and then Pixel Vision 8 sort of knows how to build its own sort of like workspaces and save folders and stuff like that. All right, that's it for now. All right, I'll be back tomorrow, and we'll just keep plugging away at this until it actually works. But it's not bad. It's pretty close. I think it's just a matter now of just moving over all the other stuff that I haven't done yet. So, all right, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.